going down the learning curve. You heard me. You already know we right here at work decided to see what's good with the folks and the lokes. Just set this up. It looks like we're on the heat wave again, right? Because it was pretty hot today, but as of right now, it cooled down, so at least it's that. Whoopsie. Now, for those who are curious, I did drop a new video on this channel if you guys want to scope that out. And I got the battle rap reactions on my other channel. And now, Canelo lost a fight. I knew that was going to happen. Pressing through. Hey, gracias, my boy, Drunken Chef. So Canelo lost the fight. He lost fair and square. Bro got outboxed. Legit. What are your thoughts on Tango Black being the Guero 10K rapper? Who's Guero 10K? I don't even know who that is. Who's that? Guero 10K? New rapper? One of these new rappers? Tango Blast? So he's a rapper from Texas then. What's cracking, Little Rich? Oh, we just chilling, my boy. We chilling. How about you? What's good, Shadow? That's right, my boy Derek up in the building. Hey, Ice Cube and Mr. Shadow Track is already out. Pretty legit. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a master classic, but it's good. What else 10K did Dirt of Innocent People? I don't know who that is. I might have to look him up. I really don't know who that guy is. I just finished watching the reply on the fight. Some pretty good exchanges made. Came out on top. Yeah, I watched the whole entire fight, and yeah, he definitely outboxed Canelo. You know, talented individual. It was a decent fight. It was okay. It was okay. It wasn't like, oh my god, you know, like to die for, right? I still think Canelo's fights with Triple G were way better. Some of the best. But this fight was cool. Out of 10, I'd probably give it a 6, 7, roughly around there. It was decent. You know, there was moments where they were slugging it out on each other, right? Like they were exchanging blows, right? But no fighter really got the better of the other fighter, right? But I felt like Crawford definitely landed more punches. He was throwing more punches too. You know, Canelo wasn't as aggressive, and he wasn't able to dodge as many of Crawford's shots like he normally does to his other opponents. Crawford's a little faster. That fool's fast. Right, so he was able to land on Canelo a few times. I like the sportsmanship between the two fighters, though. I like how they were, you know, how they were respectful towards each other, how they, how they congratulated each other towards the end, and how even when Canelo accidentally headbutted him, he apologized. He went and he apologized to him, right? He was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." You know, so I like the sportsmanship between the fighters, right? Especially, you know, one being Hispanic, one being black. I felt like, you know, that in itself was, you know, very, very important, you know, especially how people now like to grab the narratives and run with them. It's good to see them, you know, both be professional and show each other, you know, respect, you know, in the grand stage like this. Because you already know there's people out there that are just looking for any reason of why to spin some type of bullshit narrative. I'll go check it out later. Yeah, I think he dropped it on his official channel. People were like, "Oh, the first Chicano to do a song with Ice Cube." Like, what? No, he's not. And I think he's the best rapper, you know, when it comes to Chicano. I mean, come on, that's not factual though. Ice Cube's done tracks with other Chicano rappers before, Mr. Shadow. But I see a lot of people spinning that narrative, and it's like, well, actually, that's not true. What's cracking like it, Mr. Pasa? It's definitely up in the casa for the raza. Just got done eating. Taqueria spot. I came carne asada. Damn, my boy, that's right. Shit, nothing but the good stuff. What's next for Canelo? Well, he said that he was not going to retire. He said he was going to keep fighting. And what he said yesterday at the end of the fight is true, though. Like, he reached the highest of peaks. You know, he doesn't need to prove nothing to nobody because he was champ, you know. He's accomplished a lot, you know, and this is all true. He's accomplished a lot, you know, and he made it to the top. So, you know, he really doesn't have nothing to prove to nobody, right? Like, I think he should fight Triple G one more time. Nah, you know, Triple G's already retired. He's already older. Who knows? Who knows what's next for Canelo, you know? He already made a gang of money. You know, he should just worry partly about his business, you know, adventures now. And, you know, it's not really much for him to prove no more in the ring. Fought a gang of fights. He's done it all already. But who knows, you know, there's some fighters out there that just want to keep fighting, right? I think he should just retire, but that is my opinion. Had to patch up your tire? Oh, I feel you. Nah, but you can get a new used tire though, for cheap, like $40. But yeah, if you're able to patch it up, that's, you know, still good. You get like $15 for a patch up. Fucking nails all over the streets, huh? Fucking nails and glass everywhere. It's a street sweeper's for. I still give Canelo his credit, but he can tell that he wasn't fighting. Usually does. Crawford definitely took it. Yeah, because he was. See, normally when Canelo hits his opponent, he hits them to get a reaction out of them, right? And they normally react in a certain way. You know, if you could tell in Canelo's fights, he always starts the fights by concentrating on the body, right? Going to the body a lot, right? The later fights, he focuses more like, you know, for the, you know, knockout hits, you know, towards the head. But he works the body that way they get sore, and that way, you know, the glove starts to go a little bit more down because they don't want to get hit in the body no more, and leaving their face open, and he just bam, he takes advantage. But with Crawford, it didn't work on Crawford, you know. Crawford was feeling the punches, right, but he was able to deal with the pain, not like other boxers who can't really deal with them, right? He was taking Canelo's hits, right? So normally when Canelo was waiting for his strategy to work, he seen that it really wasn't working, right? And, you know, Crawford landing all those hits was getting Canelo mad and throwing him off his game, right? Completely throwing him off his strategy. You know? He started swinging a little recklessly, you know, a few times there. Hey, but that's good boxing, though. It's a strategy. Because, see, Canelo had to work to get his punches in there because Crawford had a longer reach than Canelo, you know, and by kind of a big amount, right? Canelo's reach was shorter. Canelo really had to get in there to land his punches. Crawford was able to keep him at a distance. So he definitely took advantage of that, as he should. Some idiot left a blade on the street. Damn, serio? That's crazy. Like a full-blown butcher knife? Imagine. Yeah, that was the best part. Great sportsmanship. Yeah. I was like, all right, that's good. You know, on both sides, because both of them, you know, displayed that. So, you know, they both carried themselves, you know, really good. Shadow's the best Chicano rapper who speaks lyrics. Yeah, Mr. Shadow's definitely legit. Definitely. You know, the best. You know, in pacing, in longevity, and able to adapt, right? So he's able to adapt to all kinds of different types of beats, whether it's slow, fast, you know, up tempo, low tempo, high beat, low beat, you know, mellowed. English or Spanish. You know what I mean? His verse, his grammar. So he's legit. No one here is more of a mugroso than me. Why you gotta do Cholo Juan like that, bro? Hey, check it out, dice el vato, ¿no? Mr. Shadow is the first Chicano rapper to have music video with. Yeah, that is true though. That is true. The first one to actually have Ice Cube there, and yeah, that is facts. You know, instead of like Ice Cube just sending him his part of the track, right? Which I heard that was done with the Sleeping Model, right? He just sent his verse of the track, right? But there was no actual interaction. So compared to Mr. Shadow actually being there, hanging out with the individual, and yada yada. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, anybody could get a famous rapper to come out in their music. You just gotta pay them. If you pay them, they'll come out, right? Even if you're like nobody, like who the fuck is this guy? They'll come out, right? If the price is right, they're not gonna turn down free money. You know what I mean? That's why there's certain rappers that could get like big names, like for example, like Spotty Wi-Fi. People be like, how does he have a track with Snoop Dogg and Bun B in it? Well, shit, if you offer them the money, they'll come out into your CD. They don't give a fuck. You're paying them. You know? It's only done when like the rapper feels like he's the shit, because he has these individuals, and it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's pump the brakes here, my guy. Ice Cube did a collaboration with Chicano, including A-Mugs, which is for now. Yeah. I would like to see Canelo fight Mayweather again. But it's that Mayweather's already old, though. You know what I mean? He's too old already. Not to say that Mayweather probably couldn't be, but Mayweather's already too old for that. Mayweather wouldn't have the same drive and hunger like before. You know what I mean? Because like I said, they already been, retired for a while, right? And that drive is not there no more, right? Like they could still have the mental and everything like that, but to say that the same drive when they were actually, in the business, no. What happened when Michael Jordan came back to the Wizards? He played ball, but he was not no Michael Jordan, though. I'll tell you that much. He thought that he could go in there and still play with the best of them, right? But he just realized that his body wasn't just able to do the things they were able to do before. He realized that Father Time was like, hey, yo, pump the brakes here. He wanted to, just his body. Same with Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson wanted to go out there and put on a slobber knocker, but his body was just not cooperating. His body was like, hey, who the fuck do you think you are? Is there battles that have mostly generational Chicano people that can't speak Spanish? I feel like I don't know. That's Sample Street. They have mostly people that don't speak Spanish. Nah, I know that they have a lot of individuals that speak Spanish. It's rare that a Vado's gonna have like all his members not being able to speak Spanish. Even their white and black homies will speak Spanish. The black homies in my neighborhood, they speak Spanish. They understand it good too. The white homies también. They're able to keep up with a conversation with you. Collaborator would be real. Oh yeah, no, yeah, like individuals like that, yeah. But I mean, like, what's considered Chicano rap, like what's considered thrown in the Chicano rap category. You know what I mean? Even though I feel like all of those individuals do fall into that category. You already know how the internet is and everybody else is, right? Where they're like, no, they're not Chicano rap. Chilling at home right now. That's right, my boy, relaxing. You are right. I noticed the boxing match too. Yeah. El Boy from Paso did a song with Snoop Dogg a while ago. Yeah, and Mac 10 también, no? Mac 10. He's got a few with Mac 10, I think. Mr. Shadow. Gotta be real honest. Did he? I have to scope that out. That would be some fuego type shit. That would. Because Mr. Shadow could adapt to Be Real style. I heard him, rap similar to that type of style. Like when he comes out and was featured in like with Little Rob in that Deli Sins track, and when he comes out with Mr. Little One, I seen him, dabble in that type of flow before. People have to with Snoop Dogg, but they just buy a track. They never set foot into the studio together. No, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, yeah, like not to say that these individuals are actually there, interacting and hanging out, right? Like, there's individuals that would just buy the features. And not to say these people are insignificant or whatever, right? But it could be also due to scheduling, right? These individuals are probably busy, with whatever business endeavors they have, right? Like, you just take it like how it comes. Like, all right, hey, good looking out. There's big rappers won't turn down. And the songs that work together. Yeah, I mean, a rapper really sucks, or like maybe their ideologies don't line up, right? That's the only way I could see them why they wouldn't, do it. I forgot who it was. There was this individual, right? He was stealing money from a company. He was Asian, I think, but he was a big fan of like Cardi B and all these people, right? And for one of his birthday, he got all these celebrities to come down to his birthday, but because he paid them. But he was not like a famous individual. Like, he was a CEO of a company, but he didn't know no famous people. But right, but hey, he offered them money that they were just like, and all we have to do is just go to your birthday party. Shit, say no more. They went down for like 15, 20 minutes, took a few pictures. They did. They collect a fat paycheck. But that's just crazy, right? Like, for individuals to do that just to be able to take a picture and say, hey, look, hey, I was hanging out with them, right? Like damn, bro. Like, that bragging rights means that much to you, though? Like, to me, that's just stupid, though. Like, these people paid you, you paid these people and they played you for a fool, right? They didn't really want to hang out with you, right? But just took your money and like, damn, why you want to hang out with people like that for? You know what I mean? Nothing to be proud of. You know what I mean? If I gotta pay people to hang out with me, then they can rocks. Plain and simple. I don't want to be hanging around with people like that. The fuck? Like, why would I want to hang around people like that for? Or brag about shit like that? That's crazy. These big rappers. Capone did a track with Snoop Dogg. Oh yeah, and Nate Dogg too. The Game, Exhibit, the Bone Thugs, Little Flip, Twista. Yeah, they have music with a lot of those individuals. That all Mayweather does now is exhibition fights. Because they're offering him money that he can't resist, right? And they don't really count, right, as like boxing matches, right? But like, for him, it's just the publicity of shit. It's just a show. It's not really like you can tell that the McGregor fight, the Jake Paul fight, like all that shit was just gimmicks. It's just not real. It's not even a real fight. But meaning like Canelo versus like Mayweather, and like, let's say when it's like actual real boxing, Mayweather's not taking no fights like that. Or it's like, okay, this is serious. This is a real boxing fight. I don't understand why people want to see fights like that though. Like, like fucking Jay-Z versus Tekashi 6ix9ine. Like, what? Like, they're not even boxers though. If I'm gonna see a boxing fight, I want to see boxers. I don't want to see just some regular ass fools that never boxed. Imagine how whack that's gonna be. And then people complain that how whack it is, and it's like, what did you expect from two non-boxers? You expected some fucking high quality shit? Like, they're not boxers, my guy. So when you have two people that are not boxers in a boxing ring boxing, it's gonna suck. You know? That's like getting a rocker to try to fucking bust a freestyle, and then wonders why it wasn't good. Right? It's not his type of music. Or when they get athletes to come out in movies and wonder why they suck at acting. Well, he's not an actor. Could that potentially have something to do with it? Like when LeBron James came out with that Space Jam movie, people were like, "Man, his acting skills sucked," and it's like, well, yeah. You want to know why? Because he's not an actor. He's a basketball player. What did you expect from a basketball player? Get an actor to go play a game of basketball. I guarantee you he won't be good. Because not a basketball player, right? Boy, interview with Cam Capone. That's artist doing the song. Artists won't promote the rap. I mean, you're just paying them for the track. I mean, if you're just paying them for the track, yeah, they're not gonna promote. They like, there's no reason. Like, they're just doing it because you're paying them the money, right? But they're not gonna take that out of the time to promote unless you're gonna pay them. Unless you pay them to promote the track, they'll promote it. But like, let's say just for free like that, nah, because they're gonna feel like, nah, well, if you want to promote it, you gotta pay me, right? They're gonna look to milk it and get the money how it whatever means, because a business transaction. It's not like you guys are actually friends and they're actually gonna do it because they like you or they care for you, right? It's just a business move, right? Like, so if you want to promote it as well it's gonna cost you. You know, that's just the reality. That's the business aspect of things. That's the reality of things. You know, unless he's a real cool dude, then I can see them doing it. But there's very few individuals like that. You know, people want their money and they want it now. Renting friends is crazy work. Yeah, facts, bro. Facts. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I ain't paying no one to hang out. Like, what the fuck for what? Like, I had gotten asked. Who was it? I don't know if somebody had asked me saying that. What do you do if you got tickets to like have a private dinner with It was one of these rappers nowadays, right? A fucking who the fuck? What's the name of that fucking rapper? One of these new famous rapper. I even forgot his name, right? And I was like, well, I would just give them away to somebody else or sell them. And they're like, well, why? And I go, look, to you, it might be like, oh damn, like once in a lifetime. But me, I don't hear this person's music. I don't even know who he is, right? So why would I be excited? What would we talk about? Why would we hang out? Like, what would be the conversation about? Like, there's nothing I would want to ask him because I don't care for him, right? So, like, to me, it's just like, you know. But if it were to be like someone that like I like or relevant, right? Like, let's say, chance to hang out with like Ice Cube, right? And I get to ask him questions and all this and that. That would be cool, right? And people be like, oh, well, he's already old. No one's talking about him. He's not relevant no more. Like, yeah, but see, to you guys though. But see, that's the difference though. Not everyone's into the same shit though. So like this, I would be like, what? Tickets to hang out with Beyonce? Sell them to someone else? I don't want to hang out with her. For what? What am I going to ask her? What are we going to talk about? I don't care for that kind of shit. Right? I want to be like, oh, hell yeah. Like, no. Like, who wants these tickets? To go have dinner with her. What the fuck are we going to be chatting about? And hanging out with Cardi B, like, you know how awkward that would be? Like, man, I ain't trying to hang out with nobody like that. Like, to everybody else, maybe that are fans and shit like that, like, I could see why, right? But to me, it's like, I don't care for those people. Like, if you really think about, like, how the conversation or the interaction would go, it's just weird. You guys don't even have nothing in common or nothing. Mr. G did a collaboration. I'll pay for a beer or food if I. Yeah. You're from Sunflower Records. He did collaborations with artists that had. Yeah, he did. Mr. D. Yeah, that's what I mean. Mr. D was not never like a fantastic rapper, right? In my personal opinion, I felt like his skills were nowhere near there, right? But he was good at promoting and getting his artists like exposure and reeling in names and shit like that. Like he was good at the business aspect of things. You know, not so much the rapping, but homie Hangout said people are just jealous about Dubs and Gunner. Thoughts on his particulars? Why jealous? But in what sense though? Like why would that be said though? Like jealous or the reason they get a lot of backlash? Look, he's entitled to like and jail with whoever he wants, right? Like in my personal opinion though, um, it's it's crazy that people could overlook the hypocrisy and their behaviors, right? Because they bring all that attention, the negative attention to themselves though, because of the way they carry themselves, the way they behave, the things that they do. That's not people just inventing the what these individuals do, right? They're not like delusional and concocting this shit, right? But like maybe like he probably means it in the sense like he doesn't understand why people care so much about individuals' lives, right? But there's individuals that are gonna care when people are lying, right? And when I want to call them out on it, it's within just a human thing to do, right? Because it's not good to deceive and lie to people. So it's just the kindness and the kindness and the like being a good person that's within individuals that is the reason why they do it. You can't blame them because of people's negative traits though. Like you can't blame the good individuals for pointing out the bad individuals bad behaviors. LeBron James had a just what we call good to anyway. Yeah, no. Only Hangout blocked me from all his channels because I asked him why does he sympathize with weirdos. That's crazy. I don't know. I actually don't know why individuals, um, you know, do what they do or think the way they think, right? Like they're entitled to, like and dislike whoever, I'm not too concerned about like, who people are, mess with or don't mess with, right? But as in saying like, oh, it has to do with jealousy or anything like that. Well, that's not necessarily true. I mean, you can think that, right? But that's just your opinion, though. Um, like no, like with the whole like, it's not even so much about being a SNY sympathizer or debrief sympathizer. None of the reason why people highlight these individuals' behaviors has anything to do with the street world, the gang world, or anything that's gang related. Even with me, the reason I don't see eye to eye with these individuals has nothing to do with the street or the gangster or nothing with the G code, none of that, right? It's the way they carry themselves, their morals, their how they, behave, what they choose to do, right? The lies, the insults, the um, racism, right? The inappropriate comments, the stuff like that, right? That is just like I'm not cool with that kind of shit. That's wrong, right? But see, that's all stuff that's non-gang related stuff, right? Them as a person and their morals and how they carry themselves is what I have a problem with, not their gang title or their gang status. The views disagree. I could see why a lot of people would wanna be friends with these individuals because they want to get them to promote them or get the audience, right? Thinking that the audience is real, right? But for all they know, the audience is paid for. It's fake. It's bots. You know what I mean? Because it could be all of that, right? Um, so like I said, why would you want that delusion, right? Because individuals that tend to lie and con, right, to build their status, then their whole empire is a con. You know what I mean? Not just their stories or their behavior, right? But their whole entire, fortress would be a con. So why would you want all that fake, stuff? And like I said, it's just YouTube. Like I don't understand why people, crave, viewership or whatever. Like if they come and you get them, then you get them. If you don't, then you don't. It's not the end of the world. But to now throw away your morals, throw away your, who you are, overlook people's bad traits, behaviors, just to get a little taste of the limelight. Not the best route in my personal opinion. But like I said, people could do it and live how they choose. I'm just, spitballing from my point of view. Those who told me he would have come to my house. My family, I don't stand with anyone who sympathizes with the. I know. Well, you feel strongly because of how this individual, came at you, right? So I could see why you would feel that way, right, and see it that way. Um, you know what I mean? And you have every right to. Um, so I could see why you would feel, strongly about that, right? But other people, like I said, if they're not emotionally invested in certain things, they don't care. That's the fucked up part about shit. You know, unless he was to tell these individuals that he's going to go to their house and wreck their family, that's the only way that they'll care or see them for who they are. It's sad that it really has to be like that, right? When people claim that they're caring and you know what I mean? Like let's say like we're caring people, right? And we care about these kind of scenarios, right? We expect the whole entire world to be or to see it that way, right? Or we think that the whole world sees it that way. When in all true reality, you start to realize that there's a lot of people that don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? And don't care. And it's crazy shit. Let you know how cold the world is. But there's a lot of people that do care. But there's a lot of people that don't care either, right? So it's just this sad reality of things. Everyone always just wants to pretend like they care about shit, right? But in all true reality, when it really hits the fans, they really don't care. Because if they really care for racism or inappropriate comments or whatever, then I don't understand how anybody could support these individuals or hear them out when they have displayed all those characteristics and behaviors with evidence, right? If they were really, for individuals not, being cool with this kind of stuff. That lets you know where a lot of people stand. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my lunch break is over. We gotta get back to it. It was good job. We're gonna put you guys and we out.